Good afternoon, everybody. We welcome you to our Mindanao and the Sulu Archipelago uh, Roots and Currents exhibition. This afternoon, we'll have a conversation with Salima Saway Agra-an. She's a soil painter. And before we start, we also pay respects to the custodians and owners of this land where the exhibition stands on. And we also pay respects to the elders, uh, the current and the emerging leaders of the land, along with the Torres Island peoples in Queensland. And good afternoon. Uh, say something, Salima, to welcome them. Just um, Salima, when we were conceptualizing the project for the region, I told Abby Bernal, which she is also co-curating this project, we include an artist coming from the Talaandig community. Mindanao is a region in the Philippines, southern Philippines, but Salima comes from central Mindanao, and she lives at the foothills of Mount Kitanglad, which is their ancestral home in Mindanao. And and as we wanted artists that are contemporary. It means they're currently doing current practice. We're not after heirlooms or anthropological work. We wanted narratives and stories that come from that's happening in the 21st century. So for this series, Salima offered us five works coming from the Cultural Fragility series that she's currently doing at the moment. Can you tell us briefly about each work so that people can introduce their ideas, Salima?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. But before I speak, I would like to recognize the uh, voices of this land, the ancestors of this land. Also, I would like to pay respect to the voices of my own ancestors from my tribe, especially to the voices of my parents. About this cultural fragility, I came up with this series um, last year, 2023. Um, Actually, I have a couple of sketches about this. I have actually 16 series for this. But this one, I only able to bring with the five of my series to share it with you. Um, this painting, this series is inspired by my own concern on uh, the current situation of our culture in the Philippines, not just in my community. Talks about a wide scope of concern in economic aspect of the of concern in cultural concern, actually in also in the current condition of the environment of the Philippines. So since I am born and raised in the foothills of Mount Kitanglad and also as a member of a tribe, um, there's a lot of concern that I heard that are passed through from generations to generations until to the current leaders we have today in our community. Um, from that, I came up with this series of cultural fragility. This realization of by looking at a higher perspective, when you look at in the higher perspective, you will understand that our current situation are actually not just our creation. It is a product of globalization. It is the result of colonization in the Philippines. So for those who didn't know much about the history of the Philippines, we have a lot of experiences. Um, before I was able to, before of this dress, I will start with this, my identity. Before I wear this dress, we wear, um, these clothes are introduced from the Chinese merchants during the Ming Dynasty. So from that, we lost, from that, when we started adapting these introduced materials, we started losing our own um, hinabol, hinabol clothings. These hinabol clothings are made out of, if you can see that, it's the same with that textile made by our brothers from Mindanao, Tibuli, which are Tibuli tribe. We also have that hinabol with our own design. So, so much from 1300s until up today, we've been colonized by the Japanese and then the Spanish, and then we have the Americans. So if you look at me, I'm a contemporary tribal woman. I have the short hair, uh, and then I'm using soap on my skin, and then I'm wearing shoes. So with this, this soil painting became a contemporary work. This is a bridge between the past and the present in the creative, very creative world. So it is a beautiful medium. Before I proceed to the cultural fragility, it's intertwined and interconnected concepts. So um, these work are um, you know, I if I was given the chance to choose among the mediums, since my creative style is not limited to using soil, I would prefer soil. Why? Because it reminds me to reconnect to my ancestors, to my land. That's why I prefer soil as my medium. And I would love if I am given the chance to share it to the whole wide world. Um, these are the result of my constant contemplation, meditation, alone in my art gallery, a gallery which is both a house, my house, a playhouse for my children since I am a mom, and um, I would like to share to you one of my work here. This is a concern on the environment aspect. If you look at that, this is a bird, endangered bird of the Philippines. It is called kalaw in our tribe. It is the tambulalato, a bird that creates sounds imitating the sounds of playing of a drum. So this is one of the sacred birds in our community where we, in fact, try to protect and educate our children to also protect this kind of animals. Um, our moral compass in our community is that we always consider that everything is intertwined and interconnected. So if something is not well balanced, if something is not properly given attention, then it will affect all aspects of the community. So from preservation of our environment, preservation of our soil, which is right now very concerning also because we are destroying and poisoning our soil by using by these current systems that we are engaging with, like using synthetic materials in synthetic sprays on our farming, killing our own natural soil. So um, and the other painting right here, it talks about the belief system. So, if I'm going to connect it with the globalization as concern, um, the we are very privileged right now. We can communicate all the time through social media in any form, in any way. We can travel. Me from the mountains of Kitanglad, now I'm here in Brisbane. So it's like, and people who coming from other places come to our land, and we exchange thoughts, we exchange ideas, we innovate, we adapt, and then it's also affecting the cultural belief of of the people. Uh, Example, in our community, the pre-colonial Talaandig has its own belief system. We believe in gods. We believe that the mountain has its own guardian. We believe that each individual of us has seven spirits. Um, uh, so many things that has changed right now from the time when the introduction of the Christian, our brothers, also call them brothers, brothers from Christian community who introduces, going to church. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's right that there's God anywhere. There's God in a room. There's God in the atmosphere. But because of that, indigenous peoples like me, especially those who are not really into um, going with the elders, lose its awareness, its tradition, in its own belief that you don't have to build something out of nothing created by human to know God. Because God is everywhere. God is in the trees, in the stone. So imagine, in scientific understanding, why would we respect the river? Why would we respect the mountains? Like, if there is a heavy rain and you don't consider the value of the rocks, imagine all waters coming from the mountains will, drain or flush all the houses in the in the urban areas. So that's how critical or detailed our belief system is. We consider everything, even the smallest things that we have is valuable. That's why we believe that there's a guardian in that. Before we take anything from the nature, we consider that we just borrow it, and the real owner of these materials are the next generation after us. So this is, um, we only have 30 minutes. Maybe Sir Abby would like to interrupt me
Yeah.
because this is my, when I started talking, that's why I don't want to talk, because when I started talking, I will consume all your years
Yeah.
listening to me.
So thank you, Salima, for giving us an overview of your ongoing series about cultural fragility from the point of view of the Talaandig community. Maybe one of the questions that comes out from the viewers' minds that visit and look at your work is that when did your community of artists embrace soil, and how did it became part of your contemporary identity as a Talandig in Bukidnon?
I have this brother, Saway. He's a musician. He is a craft maker. He's also a painter and also an educator. So, in 1996, he was organizing a youth organization in our tribe. We call it Kabataang Talaandig Youth Organization, or the Kabatal, which I am a member. I was 8 years old that time. And he teaches us how to, he also would like, to preserve our dances, our chants, so he teaches us to practice these dances. Also, he teaches us how to make musical instruments, the drums, the tambul, and arts. So there was one time that one of his student Raul Bindit, spell his one of his mixture, a clay mixture into a canvas, into his unfinished work, and lit it there for uh, a month. And then when he tried to go back to his work, the soil has already dried. So he's trying to remove the stain, and he cannot remove the stain. From that moment, the idea has arrived. has, so it's like Tatay Waway. We might want to use this soil as a medium so we don't have to buy. So from that moment, Manay Waway said, yes, we don't have to buy. This is soil. You can use it. And that's the birth of soil painting.
How did, now that it's a more recent adaptation by the community to use your ancestral land as medium for your paintings, how did the elders in the community accepted it? Because it's a more recent practice compared to your dances, compared to your chants, compared to making your attires. So how did they, when they saw your paintings with your Kuya Waway, with your fellow artists in the community, how did they receive it? Did you have a community conversation about it? So before the elders supported that the artistic direction for your for the soil painters of the Talaandig community.
So all the artists like me, wow, we're so curious of wow, this is a new discovery. We can paint whenever we have time, so we don't have to buy material. So it's everybody accepted the idea that we can use the soil. But on the elders aspect, they were like debating. Some of the elders were very conservative, so oh, this is not good. You must practice chanting. So must not involve that because the god of the typhoon will hit you or strike you. Oh my God, it's scary. Yeah, because it's not common practice. So some elders like let them be. It's made by the ancestors. It's the spirit that allows it because it happens. They discover it because of the spirit. So, okay, some agreed, and then majority, especially those who are into arts, accepted it. So it became like, oh, why not? We can do it.
So, what are the challenges in developing the materials and the techniques so that the paints would stick on the textile on the canvas instead of when it dries up it powderizes and just be blown away by the stain, and a light stain will be left on the canvas. So, what are the techniques that your community developed?
So I have this one nephew. He is older than me. His name is Hulpi. It's like he tried. He discovered the yellow pigment. He is the first who discovered that there is a yellow ochre in our near our place. So he said, when he started painting, his work has not sticking to the canvas because when he applied the soil in the canvas, it is too thick. So Raul also tried. He want this. He is actually a sculptor. Raul is good in molding. So when he uh, tried clay, he want a very thick layer so he can achieve the natural cracks because he loved this jar with the crack effect and then a lizard is coming out from that crack. So he really wanted that effect. So when he tried, he achieved the cracks, but it doesn't stop cracking. So everything is falling out of the canvas. So it's a failure. It's like everybody is trying to discover. And then I got this idea since my first medium is watercolor. I love watercolor. So I have this thin layering when I paint. So this is water based. So why not apply it just like how I apply using watercolor. So from that time, I use smudging technique also. I want a clearer picture and then trying to share it, try to share my own methods to my colleagues, my brothers, and then they were like, "Wow, this is how your work is so fine. It's like it's clean. Naku, it doesn't look like soil, but don't touch, don't taste it because it tastes like soil." So then, I keep on introducing it to them, and they were like observing me how I applied it, and then later along the process, I discovered that I can apply a thicker layer. I can achieve until 8 layer. So from water, it's like watering effect, and then layer it with the coat it for several layers until 8. Then it is still working. It doesn't crack. So maybe because I also have a background on latex and oil painting, you can both achieve this kind of in how you use this material. So you can also, yeah, you can. It's an advantage when you have experience on different mediums. So you can all apply those techniques in soil to achieve this kind of textures.
So now that you're talking about textures, do you maintain a certain texture that will distinguish your soil paintings from regular or acrylic on canvas or oil on canvas, so that it will still stand out among a lot of painting works that we find in Mindanao?
So today our community has been making a lot of workshops, sharing it to children who love art, and then my community, they were like has uh, created this kind of preparation where they process the soil, pound it properly, and then mixed it with water and glue, and then which is also my process. Mix it with water and glue, and then you have the paint. But when you do that, when you really do the process perfectly, uh, your work would look like a latex painting because of the fine result. So um, I I would like to retain the texture. I would like to retain this kind of texture that when you look at the painting, it doesn't look like a latex painting. Um, it will still look like soil because there's a little bit of texture. If you use a microscope, you can still find those soil. Um, that's why I keep this style because I don't want this to look like a latex painting. That's my own identity on how I process my material.
Okay, thank you, Salima. Now let's go back to how you began your direction as an artist, especially as a woman artist in a community. You shared with me earlier that you're a mother, you're also a farmer, you're also a healer in the community. So does that give more meaning to your art practice? And how is life of a woman artist in the Talaandig community today? Are you with other women artists as well?
Um, it is a bit challenging because when you say artist, mostly it's a man. Oh, it's not a woman, and especially when you are a woman who is a mother, and sometimes um, your God, you have a God on your time, your children. Your daughter will say, "Nay, you're not allowed to do that. Your attention should be mine." Okay, my God is speaking, so I have to bow down. So it's really challenging because and while you are being a farmer, so your land is calling you, Salima, till me, plant some beans on me. So everything is calling you, and your dishes is like clapping. Hey, we're waiting for you to wash, Salima. So everything is calling you like from everywhere. So it's a bit challenging, but when you're a mom, you can do everything. I don't know how. I don't know why. And when you love what you do as an artist, you will just do everything. Okay, I'll just feed my baby first and then run for 15 minutes and then, okay, go to feed my baby first and then cook. And then you're like, oh, 2,000. When you check if you're counting your steps, you're like, oh, 20,000 steps a day. That's an achievement. I should have an award. I should create an awarding ceremony for myself every day before I sleep. So that's a life of being an artist in our community. And sometimes, we have these regular activities in our community annually, or we have these special rituals. You will be invited to by your neighbors and come over here. So, okay, paintings, I'll leave you there and then go to your neighbor and then attend the ritual. So, it's like being everything all at once.
Salima, maybe 10 years from now, God willing, you're continuing with your career. Are you becoming one of the community leaders in your community, emerging leaders that we see in Wawai, that we see in other Datuvik in your community that will also lead as a woman leader?
I can see myself in any other directions. I think I'm going old, and it became it will immediately be my responsibility. A card. You are an old woman now, so you have to lead. Okay, you cannot run away. I cannot be a child again. So maybe I'll be one of those leaders. And it's like I cannot run away from my name. My name is Salima. It is taken from the history. So it is the first mother of Mindanao Island after the Great Flood. She is the first leader of the land. So before Apo sa Ulana, and before one major tribe became four tribes in Mindanao. It's in history. So if you would like to know, it is the history started from the Great Flood in Mindanao Island. So there is a woman named Apo Salima, our great ancestors. So where my parents take my name, and who meet a man. His name is Apo Agbibilin, the first man of Mindanao, and they get married. They have 8 children, and then these children become the four major tribes of Mindanao, the Talaandig, Manubu, Maranao, and Maguindanao. So their intermarriages became more tribes, the other tribes of Mindanao. So it's in our perspective. And then Bukidnon province, where I live, has 7 more tribes, from 4 tribes to 7 more tribes, and then today we have more than 30 plus tribes in Mindanao. So she's a leader, she's a woman, she's the first drum player, she's the chanter, the first chanter of the land, the first educator. So it is the woman, so I cannot run away from my name. So maybe soon, I don't know, I'll be one of the leaders.
Thank you, Salima. Maybe we could ask the audience, maybe you want some questions that you want to ask Salima before we wrap up the afternoon?
I just wondered if you'd like to say anything about the other four soil paintings there. You spoke about that before.
I'll just stand because I cannot see. This painting is, this is, this one is the Talaandig, not the Talaandig Datu. It's a cultural leader. So this is actually a portrait of the ancient leader, chieftain of the Bukidnon tribe, one of the 7 tribes of Bukidnon. So it is inspired by the political systems of the indigenous people. So this is why I painted this, because recently we just lost my brother, the tribal chieftain of the Talaandig. So yesterday I cried because I don't. Right now I control myself. I cannot to not cry. So this is dedicated to all the leaders in Bukidnon who have spent their whole life of existence, their existence to serving the community and educating the community, telling the stories of the community, becoming the moral compass of the community. And the second was inspired by, it's a product of the idea of globalization. It is one of my concern on the loss of identity of the whole Philippines in terms of art, in terms of its own economics, because of that influence of globalization and also the times of effects of impact of colonization. So we are losing our identity, we are losing our own styles, our dresses, our of how we feed ourselves. We prefer noodles, we prefer introduced food than the organic food we have. And then the third painting is, this is the intersections. And if you look at this, all the jars are overlapping. This is cultures overlapping. So I don't know, maybe you can relate to this. The designs are overlapping. There's really no more unique identity. It's like a contemporary world. So it's and the fourth painting right there is the belief system. As I was saying a while ago, it is the threat on the loss of our own belief systems. And then the last one is my concern on the environmental degradation, including those other factors that affects degradation, uh, the poisoning of the soil, the deforestations, the hunting of these endangered animals, endangered floras and faunas, and more of the series will be coming.
So thank you, everybody. Are there other people who wanted to ask? Can we still have time? One more? 1 minute more. Yes, Miguel.
Hi, it is Salima.
Hello.
Just wanted to ask, because in some other cultures in Mindanao, like for example, the Tinalak or the Tuboli, they ask for a blessing before they start weaving or before they start putting on the patterns. Is there something similar in your community where you pray or you ask for blessing before you start your art or your anything?
Oh, yes. Most of the time, it became part of me. It's a part of my process that before I started working on my painting, I I drive into my subconscious, speak to my own inner being, consult to the spirits within me. If I if my work would be uh, for me would be sensible, or I mean a work with sense or it's nonsense. So that's how became my process. So I pray and ask my own guiding spirit to assist me that what will come up into my mind and into my heart uh, will be the one that will come out into my hands, into the canvas. So that's a part of being an indigenous artist. You start with prayer first before you start a creation.
Thank you, Miguel. So I think that will be after this. The talk will that the session ends at this time. If you have any questions to Salima, while she's still here in Brisbane before she goes home to Bukidnon tomorrow, so you could encourage you to talk with her if you're shy to ask your questions this afternoon. Thank you again.